We are dark as the night is long.
We are dark as the night is long. And the night is long. Cheech and Chong, the night is long. Big Elvis the Chef Rosenberg, I am here.
You got Ulrich.
And the reason why Daniel B is not here is because we're kind of like waiting on him. And it's getting later and later and later. And we talked about timing and getting better at it as far as like making sure that I now take a toll. I spend, $12 to get this young man here.
True that.
All right. And even with me taking the toll and getting here at the real, the timing, and there's always something, in other words. But we were going to talk quickly about Rolo Tomassi before the 9:15 of the. So this is like the pregame, and can you read off the Rolo Tomassi stuff? So Ulrich, right. I want you to read this, Ulrich.
I got you.
Take your time.
I'll do it as slow as possible. So now you got me all by yourselves. It's creepy in this dark car. All right, so today we're going to talk about this guy named Rolo Tomassi. Now, I didn't know much about this Rolo Tomassi person until Elvis kind of put me on to him. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to read a little bit about this person. So he's one of the most prominent people in the manosphere. He's an author. He authored this book called The Rational Male. So... all right. I'm not sure if anybody in the chat knows who Rolo Tomassi is, but what is that, LJ? At Never Hungry Again? I don't even know what that means. Hey, Elvis, you know what at Never Hungry Again means?
At Never Hungry Again. No, I don't know what at Never Hungry means. At Never Hungry.
That's what LJ said. But anyway, so this guy Rolo Tomassi is a big fixture in the manosphere. From what I heard from Elvis, is the Rolo Tomassi is the guy who was bigger than Kevin Samuels. He was like a giant. He was the original person telling men how to clean their rooms. That's a person's name. Wait, what's a person's name? Oh, Never Hungry Again. Sorry. All right, I'm bugging out. Thank you. Sorry. Hi, Never Hungry Again. How you doing? All right. So, where was I with Rolo Tomassi, chat? See how it's always better when we get the host? So, I guess we're going to discuss some advice that Rolo Tomassi gave. Now, the reason I'm having a hard time discussing this person is I've actually never heard of this Rolo Tomassi before. Even the introduction is through secondhand information. I've never heard of this person ever in this one. All right. So, chat, how's your week been going so far? Solidly? Oh, before I get to that, our second half of the podcast is going to be about Ja Morant. Now, if any of you are big Ja Morant fans, Ja Morant is a point guard for the Memphis Grizzlies. He just recently got eliminated from the playoffs by the Lakers. And he is a basketball player that gets a kick out of putting guns on social media or waving guns around social media. Now, so that's the second part of the podcast. So I hear somebody said something about that they don't agree with the vasectomy part. All right. So was this a top? So when I was looking up Rolo Tomassi, trying to understand how I was going to even introduce this person, I did see a top 10 list that he has. So maybe I can pull that up where I can reference the no masturbation thing. Hi, Steve Ladner. Do I think guns are bad? No, I don't think guns are bad. I don't think guns are bad in any way, shape, or form. I think anything is as bad as how they're abused. And drugs are potentially bad. Promiscuity is potentially bad. If bad things are happening in connection to them. So no, to answer your question, Steve, I don't think guns are bad. How you doing, Carlton Way? Nice to see you. All right. So the never masturbation or the never Elvis is back. Excellent timing.
Big Elvis the chef.
All right. See, when I was talking about Rolo Tomassi, I was talking about a person I didn't know about. So when I was talking about, nothing I said rolled off the tongue well.
Rolo Tomassi is somebody who's just new to you. Like anything else, like when Run DMC first came out, and they were like, I'm gonna name you Run and you DMC. It sounded ridiculous, but now it's almost impossible for us to imagine a world without them. Rolo Tomassi is just unknown to you, but there's a big world out there, and he is popping. 9:15 is when we start our pod. This is the pre-show to the pod.
Yes.
We were waiting for Daniel, and there was some scheduling issues with Daniel. So I think this looks really good. This is pretty good right here. This lighting right here. See, I want it where it's not cloudy. Boom.
I feel like my eyes really sticking out more so now in the darkness. They look oddly intense.
You're not the scary black man that you think you are.
Rats. You know, I think there's some positive. You know, to be a scary black man. You know, I don't ever mind being an intimidating black man. I don't want to intimidate people, but sometimes when I walk in places, I have a feeling that white people do feel a bit intimidated.
And you love it.
But that doesn't make me feel insecure.
And you love it. You like to be
I don't know that I love it.
You like to be the black guy in the room who's real strong and you sound different than every other black guy they met, and they be like, "Oh," when they
I
meet
don't
you.
know about
You like when they go, "Oh."
I don't know.
You like this in your
No, that's patriot. No, that's patriot. Yeah, only liberals do that when they meet me.
That's what they do when they meet me.
Yeah.
You know what they do when they meet me?
He sounds different.
When they meet me, after about like the third time, they're like, "You know, when I met you, I thought you was just black, and now what are you?"
Wow.
Yeah. That's what I get. I get when I met you, I thought you was a black guy, and now what are you? You're like mixed, right? And I'm like, let's leave it a mystery.
Oh.
That's what I tell you. Let's leave it a mystery.
That can be whatever you be. I'm racially androgynous.
Right.
Say that.
Well, this is the pre-show, like we said. We're just going to quickly talk about Rolo Tomassi, and we're going to talk about how Rolo Tomassi is telling these young men to live their best life, and one of their ways is for them to actually play almost a roulette game with their seeds. And I think the only thing that's missing from this tweet is that maybe Rolo Tomassi should have told them to harness their seed, to the same way a woman is taking her eggs and spending $20,000 to freeze them.
Yeah.
The young up and coming man should be able to figure out a way to take his semen and freeze it, get the vasectomy, have as much fun as he wants without thinking about it, and then in that 5-year period getting it reversed, and then seeing if he can even have kids.
Snip.
Because the whole problem is when you get the snip. See, this is a good show for if the doc was around. You know what I mean? The doc is so busy. But if he was around, he'd be able to really, really talk more about how vasectomies are good for only 5 years, and then you have to try to reverse it, or else once after that 5-year mark, it's irreversible almost. And then once they snip it back, or sew it back, so to speak, opposed to the reverse of the snip. Once the reverse of the snip happens in that 5 years, it still takes time to become fertile. So your semen will still not be able to have the actual semen that creates the life. And it takes a little time, a couple of months, maybe 6 months, and then...
Yeah, and you're referring to one of the things that Rolo Tomassi has on his list that says you should get a vasectomy, one of his rules.
Right.
No.
He says you should get a vasectomy. You should be living your best life, and that's one of the ways he says we'll do it, is by... What was it? Didn't you read it?
Yeah. I was trying to pull the list up, but being a host,
it was sent to you during text. It was sent to you text.
Actually, you're right. Perfect. All right. So I'm gonna read the rules out. All right. So this is Rolo Tomassi's the quickest path to becoming a high value man. Number one, do not get married. You want me to go through the list and then we'll go one for one?
Yeah.
One, do not get married. Number two, avoid family creation. Number three, vasectomy in your 20s. Number four, lift consistently. Number five, eliminate all sedations. Number six, learn game and networking. Number seven, play to your strengths, build wealth. Number eight, resist easing up on your focus.
What's number 5?
Five is eliminate all sedations.
So he's talking about not getting high.
Yes, exact. That's exact. That's exactly.
Sober life. Let me tell you, man, there's a lot of truth in that. I didn't get high until I was 37 years old, dude. Okay? And then before that, I understand that laser focus. But we have to think about who he's talking to in the red pill as well.
Well, all right. Can I just say I didn't start getting high until I was maybe 21, 22, and I've never had that laser focus, even before, prior to, or after I get high. I mean, when I say laser focus, I mean like I've never noticed a change in my focus pre-smoker to being a post-smoker. So I don't, you know.
Do we think Rolo Tomassi's onto something here? Telling
No.
young men?
No.
Why?
No.
Why are
So
we
I can go down the list on my issues. First of all, he's telling young men not to get married. That's a big mistake.
Really?
That's a big mistake.
Okay. Continue. In your 20s, sir. He's not saying not to get married. He said don't get married in your 20s. In your 20s, bro. That's the difference to not getting married and not getting married in your 20s.
Listen, I think if I got married in my 20s, I think my health might be a little bit better.
Why so? How so?
All right. This is based on all right. I have an assumption about myself.
Right.
And this is based on the assumption that if I was to be a married man, if I made some kind of covenant with God, which I see marriage in, then I wouldn't continue the behavior I did even being in a relationship. In other words, I assume when I'd be, as a married person, that since I made this covenant with God, I wouldn't philander. I wouldn't like mess around. I wouldn't be so promiscuous. I actually
think that if had you gotten married at 22 to 26 years old, you would be this faithful, loving.
No. I still stand there now. I feel like marriage is my marriage is my, oh shoot, I got to do this now.
It doesn't work like that.
I'm not saying it. I'm not saying
you get married. If you're practicing how to smash chicks randomly, when you get married, that doesn't change your mentality.
No, Elvis, you're being completely rational. What you're saying makes complete sense. But even this day, I hold on to that somehow, because if I can't figure stuff out once I get married, once I made some little contract, because we always move. I feel like we move. Or maybe not we. I feel like once something's like official, like I always say, I'm gonna do this until I go to college.
Right.
I'm gonna do this until that.
Right.
You know, and in college, some things I've been right about. College, I took a lot more. I was more studious than it was in high school. And
Hold your thought.
Go ahead.
We're gonna end this segment, Rolo Tomassi's. This is the pregame. We're going to the show. I gotta go back to the people that are waiting, and you are appreciated.
So long. See you soon.
See you in 10 seconds. Boom.